Welcome back to Time Out with J and G. It's J over here, it's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we are here, you see with the title, we are ranking our top 10 small forwards in the league. We did, 2 weeks ago, we did our point guards. Last week we did our shooting guards. This week small forward, and then power forward, and then centers. You guys know how it goes. We got some gameplay on here for you. We decided to do the 2000-2001 three-peat Lakers with the 2016-2017 Kevin Durant Warriors because why not? You know, why not? But yeah, no. Today we're ranking our top 10 small forwards, and this is again. I think I said this in the first 2 episodes, but I'm just gonna say it again. This is based off of last season. So if a player's in a spot maybe you don't like, it's just like this isn't like I'm trying to think of a guy that might be a little bit lower this year. Than like there's gonna be people in front of other people that maybe all time they're not better, but because of the last season. Yeah, that's kind of how they explain it.
This is solely based off of last season.
Exactly. So yeah, I just want to put that out there because some people will be like, oh, like this, like how did this person over this person? This person's better all time. Yeah, it's not all time. It's just based off of last season. Is there any Kawhi we have classified as a 4?
Yep.
And then who was
Jaylen Brown we have classified as a 3.
Right. Okay. So that's gonna be yeah. So Tatum's gonna be a 4.
Yep.
Okay.
And that the reasoning is for everyone out there, Tatum primarily played the 4 last season on that Celtics team with either Al Horford or Kristaps at the center position.
Yeah, that's how we're doing it. It's like sure, yeah, in a lot of words you might consider Tatum a 3, but we're just going based off like the starting lineup, and Jaylen Brown and Tatum can't both be the starting small forward, so that's how we're kind of doing it. It just so people were like, whatever. That's what we're basing off of, like what their starting lineup is, what they would run, and you can't have 2 small forwards on the court at the same time. One of them's got to be power forward. So, is there anything you want to kind of jump in before we started this list?
Not really. I'm excited to get into the list.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll go ahead and we'll start at number 10. I'm curious to see who you have at number 10.
At number 10, I have Josh Hart.
Okay, he is not on my list.
The reasoning is he was one of the main factors for that Knicks team to go as far as they did. Especially when the injuries hit, he played 81 games. He played damn near every playoff game. He had to have played almost 100 games total. Well, maybe not that much, but you know what I mean. Like
it was around 90.
A lot of games. He played a lot of games, and he didn't miss a lot because he wanted to play. And his tenacity and his scoring, his rebounding. Didn't he have a 20, 30-point game in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just overall with how he helped will that Knicks team to the second round Game 7 is one of the reasons why I have him here at 10.
My number 10 is Chris Middleton. So he averaged about 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. It was actually his second highest assist season of his career. This is a season that he only did play 55 games, so injury bug definitely had him a lot. And that's kind of why he's a little bit lower on my list, just because our cutoff is 50 games. He played 55. I don't know. In a normal world, I think. Do we think we agree that in a normal season, Chris Middleton's probably a borderline top 5, top 7 small forward in this league?
He's a top 10 small forward.
Yeah, so it's like with it just a little bit of injury bugs, I think he fell down my list a couple spots. On a normal season, I probably have him 2 or 3 spots higher, but the injury, he kind of dropped a little bit. We'll look at the shooting here. My phone is being super, super weird right now. He shot 38% from 3, which is the highest it's been in the past 3 seasons. So he had a bounce-back season shooting the ball. Yeah, I mean, it was on 4.5 attempts, so it was a little bit lower. But again, he missed some time. 49% from the floor, which is his highest in 5 seasons. He shot, obviously didn't score as many points this season, down to 15, but his shot selection was better. His efficiency was better. That's why he's at number 10 for me.
Hey, that's understandable. So what is your number 9?
Do you have Chris Middleton on your list?
No, I do not.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you had Hart over Middleton.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Like I said, my 9 and 10 may rub some people the wrong way.
Okay. My number 9 is Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
So my reasoning for Michael Porter Jr. at this list, he played 81 games. He only missed one game this season, which is a big thing for Michael Porter Jr. He's never played, his career high before was 62, and he played 81 this year. So he was available for them, which is, again, like I said, has always been an issue for Michael Porter Jr. just with his back injuries and stuff like that. He averaged almost 17 points. The assist was only at 1.5, but that's actually the second highest of his career. So, he was, he was,
He was doing his thing.
7 rebounds, which is 0.3 lower than his career high, but is his second highest. He shot his highest percentage from the free throw line with about 84%. He shot, on 7 attempts, he shot about 40% from 3, which he's done pretty much every year except for the 2021 year where he only played 9 games. And he's a big part of that Denver Nuggets team. Obviously, they're a team that won a championship last year, and this year they fell short in the second round. But he is the biggest piece on all. Okay, no. He is that guy on their offense that is just not going to turn down a shot. It doesn't matter what it is. If you need a bucket, he's going to chuck it up, and that's a super, super big, important thing. Especially when you have a guy like Jokic that's such a great passer. You need a guy that's just going to be like, screw it. I don't care if there's a hand in my face. I don't care if there's 0.3 seconds on the shot clock. I don't care if there's 24 seconds left on the shot clock. If my shot's there, I'm taking it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you on that. He's that shot taker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how much time's on the shot clock. If there's a hand in his face double teamed, he's gonna shoot. For my number 9, I have Franz Wagner, however you want to pronounce it. Yeah, I have Franz.
It's Franz Wagner.
Yep, I have Franz. He is pretty much arguably the second best player on the Orlando Magic, and he's the number 2 option. He did have a little bit of trouble from 3. I think he shot under 30%, but I still believe that I can go up, and I feel like sky's the limit for Franz.
Yeah, okay. I did not have Franz on my list this year. Most because, he had a really, really down season shooting the ball.
He did.
And that really hurt them in the playoffs. It's one of the biggest reasons they lost in that playoff series. I do like Franz. I think in a normal year he would be up here, but just the way he shot this year, I think he kind of shot himself off the top 10 list for me, like me in particular. I didn't have Josh Hart. I didn't have Franz. You didn't have, who did I have at 10? You didn't have Chris Middleton. Do you have MPJ on your list?
I do.
Okay. So there's somebody else up here that I have higher on my list that you don't have on your list. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, like I said, I like Franz, and it's no diss to him or anything like that. I think he's on the short list of honorable mentions. It was guys like Josh Hart, guys like Franz Wagner, guys like Jaden McDaniels that were on the short list of people that didn't make my list, but were that borderline like 11 through 13. I think looking at these names on this list, I think next year he could very well jump a couple of these names on the bottom of my list. If he can just get back to like being a 35% 3-point shooter, you know what I mean? But yeah. Okay, go ahead with your number 8 then.
At number 8, I have Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
He was part of the Pelicans team. They didn't overall as a team perform like everyone expected them to. He only had 20 points per game. He had 5 rebounds and almost 6 assists, which is almost his career high. He shot about 36%, so about his average, but he's arguably the number 2, number 1 option, depending on if Zion's there or not, and depending on just how the game's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he has a good amount of weight on his shoulders to score. And I just think he had a pretty good year. Obviously, the Pelicans didn't do as good as everyone thought they would, or hoped they would, but I think Brandon Ingram had a pretty damn good season.
Okay, so here's maybe where we had a bit of confusion on our list. We didn't talk about this guy before, and maybe we should have. I have OG Anunoby at 8. Is that a guy you left off your list, or do you have him?
Oh, he's not there.
Okay, so maybe you put Josh Hart. We probably should have talked and figure out if one of them is the small forward or not. Whatever. I have OG Anunoby. Obviously, he got traded. He played 27 games with the Raptors, 23 with the Knicks. And when he came to the Knicks, he just was a better overall player. I mean, statistically, his points went down by a point from 15 to 14. But again, he was a top option on the Raptors team to more of a defensive role on the Knicks team. But we saw they were like what they when they traded for OG, he played like 8 games and then got hurt for a little bit, but they were 7-1 once they traded for him. Like, you saw the defensive impact immediately from him. We'll look at his overall stats on the season. About 15 points per game. He had about a steal and a half per game. 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Shot, where is that? 38% from 3, which is one of the highest of his career. It's actually the second career high. 38% from 3. On 5 attempts, he became a really, really good, about 49% from the floor. Just a really good catch and shoot player that can sometimes get the bucket when they need to get the bucket. But he really locked in defensively as well once he got to the Knicks, because there was some talks around his name the last season and a half of the Raptors that he wasn't the defender that he used to be, but the Raptors were a bad team, so it kind of made sense, and he got to the Knicks, a better team, and he started locking back up defensively. And I mean, he didn't make an all-defensive team this year, which it is what it is, but we all know OG Anunoby is one of the best perimeter defenders in this league, so he's my number 8.
Very well said. Very well said. What is your number 7?
My number 7 is his new teammate, Mikal Bridges.
Oh.
I got Mikal Bridges, his new teammate. Next year, one of them's gonna have to move. We're gonna have to move one of them in the position for next season. But last season, they didn't play together, and Mikal Bridges was the starting 3. Yeah, I have him at number 7. He was the number 1 option on the team. He averaged about 20 points per game, which is a bit of a drop, definitely like a 6-point drop off from last season. So we saw that he's not the number 1 option that maybe some people thought he could have been over there in Brooklyn. But 20 points per game, 3.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds. He about a steal a game. He shot 81% from the free throw line, which is actually one of his lower seasons. But it is what it is. He shot 37% from 3 on 7 attempts, so career high on attempts, still 37%, which is above league average. 43% from the field isn't great, but again, 16 shots, one of the highest of his career. He got put into a role that he's not really we know Mikal Bridges now is like a number 3, sometimes maybe a number 2 option, but he's there for defensive purposes to catch and shoot, and he was kind of thrown into a role that he wasn't ready for to be a number 1 option. It's just not who he is. But again, he still did his thing. You know what I mean? He still warranted all those picks to go to the Knicks, and it's going to be dope for them this season. They have so many defenders now. Yeah, he's my number 7, right? Number 7.
Yep. My number 7 is Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr., like he said, he averaged about 17 points, 7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, which is almost his career high, ironically. But no, he's a major component on that Denver team this year. I mean, I know they did lose in the second round to Minnesota, but even then through the year, we all thought that they were just an absolute juggernaut of a team, and they were pretty much going to make the finals. And MPJ was one of the reasons why they got to that point. Like you said earlier, he was not afraid to shoot.
No, he's not.
He would shoot at any point, any time. Not a passing player. But the rebounding is something that they absolutely need.
Yep.
And the spacing that he gives them, he's such for a third option, he's such an important piece to this team.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I like Michael Porter Jr. I like his role on the team. I think this is one of the few teams in the league where the role he has is perfect for him. I don't know how many other teams he can go to that he has this role that he does now. You know what I mean? I think the fit is there really good, but they're a second apron team, and obviously you have Jokic, you have Jamal Murray. Those are the 2 you're not getting rid of. If you're Denver, you have to make a decision in the next couple of years between Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. So we'll see which one they choose. Next, number 6. You go ahead with your number 6.
At 6, I have Jimmy Butler.
Whoa! Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit. It seems like a little bit of hate from a Celtics fan. Oh no.
I mean, it is Jimmy Butler, Michael Jordan Jr., whatever you want to call him, the reincarnation. But Jimmy Butler had another good year. The Heat pretty much did exactly what they did last year. They got the 8 seed.
Yeah.
When it was all said and done after the play-in tournament, they got the 8 seed. I mean, he had a really good year. He's doing what he always does. You know what I mean? He's always going to be on this list. It's Jimmy Butler. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to put him higher, but I just have a couple people on that are higher up that I just couldn't put him above.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I guess not too, but I have him up quite a bit higher. Not too crazy, but I have him quite a bit higher on my list. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
So my number 6 is DeMar DeRozan.
Okay.
If we would have did this last season, he probably would have been number 3. Honestly, like he had a crazy, like last year had a crazy season. He was an all-star last year, but this year still another great season. 24 points per game. Oh, I've got a stupid ad. Come on, can we not get that? Let's see, 24 points per game, over a steal a game, over 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Shot 85% from the free throw line. From the 3, shot 33%, which honestly is pretty high for DeMar DeRozan. We know he's never been a great 3-point shooter. He's more of a mid-range guy, and he shot about 48% from the floor, which is a little bit down from last year. But he led the league in minutes at about 38 minutes a game, which is kind of crazy. Which is actually really, really crazy. I don't know. He's just like that guy. He played 79 games, which it's great. Ever since he got to Chicago, he's pretty much been playing 74 to 5, 76, 74, then 79. So he's been pretty much an Iron Man since he's got to Chicago. He's one of the best ISO scorers in the league, especially in the mid-range area, the mid-range pull-ups, just getting his stuff open all the time. I actually, this doesn't affect my ranking, but it's actually a pretty funny story. I was listening to the Roommates podcast today because I had missed the past couple weeks, so I listened to back-to-back episodes, and the one from like 2 weeks ago was they did a reaction. Okay, I don't know if you listened to the Roommates podcast. It's the Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart podcast.
I do not.
Okay, so it's Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, and it was like 2 episodes ago. They reacted to signing or trading for Mikal Bridges, and then Isaiah Hartenstein leaving and stuff like that, and then that's also the episode where OG Anunoby signed for that $200 million to come back to the Knicks. And Josh Hart was telling a story about how last season, after they traded for OG, they were playing the Bulls in like April, and OG Anunoby was guarding DeMar, and in the first half, OG picked up 4 fouls. So they had to sit him. And Tom Thibodeau put Josh Hart on DeMar DeRozan. So they get into the third quarter, and Josh Hart went down like the play-by-play, like he read it off. Josh Hart guarded DeMar DeRozan for 9 total minutes in the third quarter. DeMar scored 15 on him in those 9 minutes. Just mid-range pull-up, free throw, layup, mid-range pull-up, mid-range shot. It's like, and Josh was like, I remember looking over at Tom Thibodeau like, help me, please, and he wouldn't send anybody over. And eventually, he said OG got back in the game like late third quarter, and he was like, OG, go get him, OG, I'm done. And he had to go sit on the bench for a little bit. He's like, DeMar DeRozan's just one of those guys that if you ask a lot of NBA players who came out and said this, that DeMar DeRozan is one of the toughest guys to guard in the league. He's so shifty. He's so clutch. He makes the clutch shots. Again, like the mid-range, like as we're watching Kobe right now, the mid-range is a lost art in the NBA. We've known this for a while now. The mid-range game kind of fell out. But you look at guys like Carmelo Anthony, and then like OG or DeMar DeRozan, and obviously like Chris Paul, like some other guys too. That like that's a lot of space on the floor. That if you can master the mid-range game, man, you can score from almost anywhere. And DeMar DeRozan's that guy. Again, if he would have did this last year, he probably would have been number 3. But I have him comfortably here at number 6.
I can respect it.
I went on a long tangent about DeMar, but he really is one of my favorite players. And just want to give him his flowers. Plus, I thought that Josh Hart story was pretty funny.
It was.
Number 5. Number 5. I got the guy you said earlier, Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
You had him at like what, 7, 8?
I had him at 8.
Yeah. So right now, actually, I'm looking right now. The Kings are reportedly pursuing a trade for Brandon Ingram. So that's interesting.
Okay.
I don't mind that.
I mean, they're gonna have to give up picks to get him then, because they got DeMar.
Holy shit, they do have DeMar.
Yeah.
Holy shit, they do have DeMar.
So now you're thinking of a lineup that could be Sabonis at the 5.
Well,
DeMar
then again,
at the 4.
this is, I mean, maybe it doesn't happen until next offseason, because, like, DeMar's on a 1-1, ain't he? I'm pretty sure DeMar's on a 1+1. So maybe they, like, do they did they pick up his option and then trade him? They sent DeMar to the Pelicans. I don't know. This is still, but now that's just something I just pulled up there. I completely forgot they got. Holy shit, they did get DeMar DeRozan. Okay. Where was I? I got lost. Oh, number 5, Brandon Ingram. About 21. You kind of read the stats. 21 points per game, almost 6 assists, almost a steal a game, 5 rebounds, 8% from the free throw line, about 35 from 3, about 50 from the floor, 4 times from 3. Yeah, no, you kind of said a lot about Brandon Ingram already. He's the number 2 option on that team. Number 1 if Zion's not there, and he's another one of those mid-range guys. He's definitely a really, really good mid-range player, and I think Brandon Ingram's actually kind of, how do I say this in a way where it's like I'm not talking down on Zion or CJ or anything, but I think Brandon Ingram would look a lot better and be a lot higher on a lot of people's list if he didn't have to share all those shots with Zion, CJ McCollum. Like, he has a lot of guys that want the ball, where it's kind of hard for him to kind of get his a lot of the time now on this team.
Yeah, he's playing with 2 ball-dominant players.
And now they got DeJounte Murray. So I think Brandon Ingram's a guy that's better than his statistics show. And again, based off last season, maybe he should be a little bit lower, but I do still think Brandon Ingram's a better player than his stats show, especially this past season. I know he had a little bit of some injuries this season, but still played 64 games, which is the most since his rookie season, actually, where he played 79. So, Brandon Ingram's another guy that health has always been a bit of a concern. So the fact that only by 2, but it's still his career high since his rookie year, I think you gotta take that for something. I don't know. I would like to see Brandon Ingram he's got to demand the ball. Like, I personally think he is still the second best player on the team. I think he's better than DeJounte Murray. I think he's better than CJ McCollum. I do think that he needs to command that, hey, like, Zion's the best player, but I am number 2. I need the ball. And I think that's going to be big for him this season. So we'll see how that goes.
It's going to be interesting considering now they're going to have about 4 players that are ball dominant.
Yeah, so that's why, like, I would not be surprised if he's not on the Pelicans to start the season, if I'm being honest. I just think they have too much. Yeah, I don't know about that.
That'd be kind of wild.
Yeah. Who'd you have number 5?
Oh, number 5 for me is Paul George.
Okay.
Paul George, he shot, I believe, a career high from 3 at 41%, 41.3% to be exact. He shot a career high at the free throw line, 90%. Shout out to him. About 22.5 points, about 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. I mean, he was arguably the top dog on this Clippers team. And also, he played 74 games. The past 4 seasons, not including this season, 48, 54, 31, 56. This is the most games he's played in a while since his last year in OKC, 2018-2019. He was a big piece of this Clippers team, and obviously at the tail end, injuries derailed him. But he was one of the big reasons why they were able to keep that 4 seed.
Yeah.
And obviously injuries to Kawhi and, stuff just didn't pan out for them to try and make a run in the playoffs. But he had a really good year for in my opinion, being a number 1 option.
Yeah, like I mean, I think still Kawhi's number 1 option, but yeah, with the amount of time missed, Paul George is definitely the number 1 after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I believe, let's see, even his field goal percentage, I believe, was his career high. He had a career high in a couple statistics.
Mm-hmm. And he was an all-star, of course, yeah. Yeah,
all-star too.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'll just piggyback off that. My number 4 is Paul George. So yeah, you pretty much just went off of that. So yeah, I'll just since you talked about that, we'll just have a quick little conversation about Paul George and Philly. I know we kind of already talked about this, but like, how do we think? I think actually I just watched the latest episode of Podcast P the other day, and on Monday, and they had Lil Dicky as a guest.
Oh shit.
And Lil Dicky kind of made a comment that this is the first time since Julius Erving that they had a wing that can go out there and get shots for themselves, like a good ball-dominant wing that can go make their own shots. And I'm like, that sounds kind of crazy, right? But then I'm like, He's not wrong. I mean, they had Jimmy Butler for half a season, but other than that, they really have not, like, can you think of any small forwards in the past 20 years the Sixers have had that are like
I mean,
star level players?
I believe he would have been classified as a shooting guard by Andre Iguodala.
And even that, like, Iggy's not like a bucket getter. He
Yeah,
wasn't
and even then, that was at the very beginning of his career.
Yeah, like, and that's like probably the best one outside the half year Jimmy Butler. But again, like, Iggy's not really like a bucket getter. Like, he's a guy that can make shots and like play good defense. But you're not gonna like, you're. It's not like Paul George where you're like game on the line. You can give him the ball, he can go out there and create his own shot. Like, that just isn't what Iggy's been. As it's kind of funny he's actually holding the ball right now. But no, shout out Iggy. Like, he's a great player. But yeah, he just doesn't have like the ISO go get a bucket ability that like a guy like Paul George has.
Hey, Martian's got the death beam pointed at Earth, and you gotta get a bucket. Give me Iguodala.
Give me Iguodala. That's no, but no, I'm excited for this Philly team. Obviously, like, I'm not a Philly fan, but I just like seeing good basketball, and I think a lineup of like, I don't know, it's gonna be like Tyrese Maxey, it's gonna be Kelly Oubre, Paul George, probably Caleb Martin, and Joel Embiid. That's
a solid lineup.
I think that's a lock for a top 4 seed in the East. I think. Obviously,
injuries, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, they could be a top 2 seed depending how the Bucks and the Knicks are this season. Like, I think it's gonna be Boston number 1 again, and I think the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Sixers are all gonna fight 2 through 4.
Yeah, I think that's about how it's gonna happen. I think Paul George for that Philly team, he needs to take a Michael Porter Jr.-esque role, and what I mean by that is, Embiid's gonna demand the ball. And you don't want to hinder the progression of Max because we've seen what he can do.
Yeah.
You basically need to be what Michael Porter Jr. is. You can get him the ball, he can get you a bucket, and that's pretty much what you're looking at. You're not looking to him to, create for others. You're not looking to him to do all this other stuff. You're literally just looking at him to score the basketball.
I mean, I think he could be. Paul George is a very, very good ball handler for a wing. One of the best wing ball handlers in the league. So I mean, he's definitely going to create shots for others. But yeah, no, I think he's definitely going to take a more of a scoring first mentality with this team.
And just let me preface this so people don't, get in the comments. When it's the starting lineup, I think he should be in that role. But when the second string come out, or he's out there and he's the, Embiid and or Maxey's not out there, I think he has to take over at that point.
Yeah, because they don't really have a lot of point guard roles outside of, like, they brought back Kyle Lowry. They obviously drafted Jared McCain. But, like, yeah, when Maxey and Embiid aren't on the court, he's by far the best playmaker other, so yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, I think his stats will definitely go down because he's like pretty much now the third option. But this could be like one of the most impactful seasons for Paul George in a long time.
Yeah. So we're at what, number 4?
Number 4. No, I just said my number 4, which is you're number 4 because I just said PG.
At number 4, I have DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, like you were saying earlier, mid-range god. He's just the epitome of what early 2010 or 2000s basketball was. He has a lot of heart. He's gritty. He's shifty. The mid-range is just deadly. I mean, this man is just about everything that you could want in a player. I mean, the 3-ball isn't there, obviously. Everyone knows that. But other than that, I mean, he's got about every tool that you could need for a basketball player. And he's just been... He was in Chicago. For the Bulls, he was one of their best players. It's just a shame that team didn't pan out like ownership thought they would.
Yeah.
Everyone else knew what was going on.
Yeah. I guess we'll go number 3, right? Yeah, number 3. Who do you have 3?
At 3, I have Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
He had a really good year. Obviously, he was the second option, third option, Sometimes the first option. It just depended by game.
You said you have Jaylen Brown at 3. You have somebody in the top... You have somebody in the top, unless I misread something. Yeah.
Unless I messed something up. Hold on, let me check.
Oh, oops.
What?
I don't have KD on my list.
Oh,
Because I have him classified as a 4. I didn't even recognize we said 3 for KD.
oh,
Yeah, I have Kevin Durant. He's gonna be on the 4th list. I could have swore. Damn. Go ahead, keep going.
oh. Well, I mean,
He's listed as a power forward, small forward. What do you mean?
What?
Oh, go ahead. I'll keep looking this up.
Okay. I mean, Jaylen Brown. I believe he was Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and he was Finals MVP. Man played amazing defense all year. He was one of the he was just one of the top dogs on the Celtics team, and at this point he just wanted to win. Didn't matter what he had to do, whether it was just play defense for 48 minutes straight. He just wanted to win. And yeah, he's at number 3, especially, Finals MVP dog? Eastern Conference MVP?
Yeah.
Straight dog.
Man, yeah, the on ESPN the Phoenix Suns roster has Kevin Durant as a 4.
Oh. I put him. I'm gonna be honest, I put him at the 3 because that's what we've always seen him as.
I think he's been a 4 for a couple years now, since like Brooklyn. Well, okay, there's a bit of a mix up there. That's okay though.
It's
That
okay.
because I was looking when you said Jaylen Brown at 3, I'm like, there's somebody you have in the top 3 that's not on my list at all, and I couldn't figure out who it was. And I'm like,
Number 1, Anthony Bennett.
yeah, right. My number 3 is Jimmy Butler. This is where I have Jimmy Butler. You kind of said a lot about Jimmy Butler. He is kind of good to the point where he kind of, coasted through this season, but still 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 60 games. Didn't have the injury bug that kind of beat him up a little bit, especially into the playoffs. But we know who Jimmy Butler is at this point in time. I'm not going to let, his name kind of got talked down on because he didn't play in that playoff series, and I think he might have fell off some people's radars. That didn't happen with me, Jimmy. Don't worry. Don't worry, man. I didn't let him forget about you. Shot 41% from 3, which is a career high.
Holy hell.
Yeah. All right, man. Don't disrespect my man Jimmy Buckets. We know who he is. He's a playoff monster. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it this season.
That's
yeah.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. That's, man, I'm still like, damn. Okay. At number 2 is where I had Jaylen Brown.
Okay. Yeah, at number 2 I had Kevin Durant. I always envisioned, like I said, Kevin Durant as a 2. I mean, not as a 2, as a 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where he's been most of my time watching basketball. I know he's made the transition to the 4. That is my mistake then. Kevin Durant's 2 if he was a small forward for me, but I'll just take him off the list then.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Just put him on your 4s list too, and we'll go about it that way. Yeah, no, that's. I'm like looking at my list, and I'm like, Jaylen Brown at 3. Who the hell am I missing here? Like, I didn't even peep because we talked about Kevin Durant, and because we talked about, I said about Kevin Durant, and then you responded with LeBron being small forward. I'm like, for some reason my brain just kind of turned off, and I didn't even recognize that. Like, yeah, so it was just a bit of a mix-up on our part before we started.
No, I see. You said Kate. You said what about KD? I said small forward. Then I said LeBron small forward.
Yeah, I guess there was just a confusion there about what was actually said. It's no big deal. Kevin Durant would probably be at number 2 as well for me if he was on the small forward list. So, yeah, that's
It is what it is. It was a mix-up. We're human. It happens.
All right, exactly. Yeah, no, like Jaylen Brown. So that leaves one person. Leaves one person for the number 1 spot.
I wonder who it could be.
It was Kelly Oubre. I have Kelly Oubre at my number 1 spot. He had a really good season this year.
I had Andrew Wiggins at 1.
Damn. I was reading some other people's lists to kind of get an idea of how some other people ranked them, and a couple, like this one guy had Andrew Wiggins at 6, and I'm like, I don't know if we watched the same Andrew Wiggins this season.
2022 Andrew Wiggins, that'd be a different story.
Yeah.
2024 Andrew Wiggins, I don't know about that, sir.
Yeah, no, but yeah, obviously LeBron James, number 1,
Yep.
All NBA,
Ricky James,
71 games, the most he's played since 2017-2018. Made it to the first round of playoffs again, losing to the Denver Nuggets. We know how that goes. About 26 points per game, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. We know who LeBron is at this point in time. 39 years old. That's got to come into play a little bit. Still being one of the best players in the league at 39 years old is nuts. Honestly, is actually like insanely nuts. And the fact that he's, unless anything crazy happens, he's probably gonna be number 3, like in the top 3 again next season at 40. So, like, it is kind of nuts what we're watching right now. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna see anything like this again. So, like, people don't like, you might hate LeBron for many reasons, and it's whatever, but just don't lose sight of really what we're watching in real time.
Yeah, I mean, and also LeBron shot 41% from 3. That was his career high.
Yep.
Like, no, he didn't have a career high for field goal, but he had a career high for the 3-point percentage, and I feel like if he keeps this up, especially next year, I mean, sky's the limit for his 3-point shooting. I hope he does. I hope when he gets to that point, he just retires and doesn't try to stab on his career. You know what I mean? Jumping from team to team when he's like 42, 43. I hope when he calls it quits, he just calls it quits.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, obviously, and like you said about one of the earlier ones, he's grandfathered in. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Like, LeBron has been the best small forward for at least 15 years. And he's going to continue to be the best small forward, and that's crazy to say. He's been the best small forward for most, if not all, of his career.
He's been up there since.
Yeah. It's been a while.
I mean, it's LeBron. It's kind of tough to even like make it. There's no reason to like make a case about LeBron being number 1 anymore. It's like, it just kind of is what it is at this point in time. And I mean, I don't even know right now who's taking over that spot. Like, maybe if the Celtics kind of change up their lineup and Tatum kind of moves up to a 3, Tatum has the ability to take that spot. But I just don't see anybody else that's really like, because the youngest person we have here is Jaylen Brown, and he's good, but he's not LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Until he retires, unless something crazy happens, I think he's going to be there at number 1.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, we might have another year or 2, maybe even 3 of him still being at that top, you know what I mean? Like, being at that top tier point.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
Well, that is our top 10. You want to go through your list, start at 10, down to 1?
Yes, I can. Number 10, I have Josh Hart. 9, Franz. 8, Brandon Ingram. 7, MPJ. 6, Jimmy Butler. 5, Paul George. 4, DeMar DeRozan. 3, Jaylen Brown. 2, Kevin Durant. And number 1, LeBron James.
Mine is 10, Chris Middleton. 9, Michael Porter Jr. 8, OG Anunoby. 7, Mikal Bridges. 6, DeMar DeRozan. 5, Brandon Ingram. 4, Paul George. 3, Jimmy Butler. 2, Jaylen Brown. 1, LeBron James.
LeBron James. Yeah, I was looking at some of his nicknames on Basketball Reference. You want to hear some of them?
Okay.
King James.
Yes.
LBJ.
Mm-hmm.
Chosen One.
Mm-hmm.
Bron.
Okay.
The Little Emperor.
Okay.
The Akron Hammer.
That's crazy.
L Train.
Oh, God.
And Benjamin Buckets.
Benjamin Buckets is fire. I've just never heard him be called that. And I don't understand where the Benjamin's coming from.
I don't know either. But yeah, that's what it has on Basketball Reference. Those nicknames.
There's not even any good Bens in the league to give the name Benjamin Buckets to. That's kind of a crazy name. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I just typed in Ben, and the only one that really pops up is really Ben Simmons, but he's been, on that downturn.
Yeah, speaking of, dude, yeah, I remember we were playing in the party the other night, and I downloaded 2K20 because Farming Simulator wasn't working. Shout out Farming Simulator. And yeah, I loaded in. I remember the first thing I said in the party was, I got shocked because I loaded in to the 76ers, and Ben Simmons was a 87 overall. And I was like, whoa, remember when that was the case? Like, that's just insane. And I think he's going to be in the high 60s, they said, in 2K25. Or is it low 70s? Something like that. So it's like, that's just man. He's still in his 20s. Like, the way his career's progressed, you thought he'd be like 36, 37. That dude's in his 20s. Like,
man's having that OJ Mayo timeline.
No.
Not without the off-court incidents.
Without the crack. so,
Yes, without
so I don't
the
really want
crack.
to. I don't want to put that on his name because we don't know what Ben.
On court.
Nah, I'm
on
still
court,
not.
The statistics are going down.
I'm not even going to entertain that because I don't want this man's name tied with OJ Mayo. I'm not putting that on Ben. I'm not putting that on Ben. But yeah, that's our list, man. Is there anything you want to talk about before we get up out of here?
This is kind of crazy, but I'm just looking around Basketball Reference.
Mhm.
For the 2021-2022 season, it has LeBron James listed as a center.
Hey, man, we were struggling.
Man has quite literally played every position in basketball, quote unquote, as their main position.
Yeah.
As his main position. He's been a point guard. He was technically a point guard in 19 to 21. He small forward, classified as a power forward a couple years. Apparently shooting guard his first year.
Yeah.
Nah, that's just crazy.
Shout out our boy LeBron, man. I don't think we're ever going to see anything like it. I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again.
I mean, Wembanyama, but he's a freak of nature.
Yeah, Wembanyama's going to be great, but it's not going to be like it's going to be completely different from the way LeBron is.
Oh yeah, LeBron was more of a bruiser, like get downhill type player, and Wemby's just like, I'll just like shoot right over your head.
Yeah, I also think the personalities are just completely different too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Well, then I'm going to tell you guys to go check out my YouTube channel, Cloud2K, or College Football 25 is now officially out. And by the time you're seeing this, there's one episode already out of my Rice Dynasty series, and another one comes out tomorrow. So be in tune for that. We play our first game in episode 2. It's an instant classic game. You'll have to tune in to see who won. Goes to overtime. I'm going to be honest with you. It goes to overtime. So yeah, anything you want to shout out?
No, not really.
So thank you guys for watching this episode of Time Out with J&G, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.